Who's feeling blessed this morning? Me too. And I'm especially feeling blessed because our beloved Margie just came in. And I'll give you a minute to settle in as I welcome everyone to the Sacramento Center for Spiritual Living. And we have our opening song. We are so glad you're here. And then Margie, our practitioner, is going to take over from me.
Again, welcome, and thank you, the One Love Band. Always good to see all of you to be here. Okay, so I'll remind you to, I just did it myself, turn down our cell phones, turn them so they're low, and because God's always calling us, so right there. And then a demonstration. Does anybody have anything to share about a demonstration? Yes.
I love reggae music.
You love reggae music?
And I have a special artist. His name is Pato Banton. And he has a song, he says, go Pato, go Pato. So I sang one time, go Pato, come to Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Years ago.
That's
as it happens, in a couple of weeks, he is not only coming to Sacramento, he's coming to the Grange in Orangevale, where I live, in my backyard, and I can't be more excited than I am right now.
That's wonderful, Elaine. And that was that Anton you're talking about?
Pato Banton.
Pato Banton.
Banton. He's reggae, but he sings religious science, actually.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
Well, that's
he sings
great.
about everything we teach.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Demonstrations? Okay. Well, then we are a welcoming sanctuary community, as you know, and accept it and value and support it in our global family. We're global. And our mission, we'll say it together. We inspire personal and global transformation through the teachings of science of mind. And our mission, we inspire personal and global, I just said that. We forgot our vision. We are a welcoming sanctuary where all are accepted, valued, and supported in the global family. And then we'll drop down to our purpose. And in joy and love, we connect in service to all life. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do the invitation, and today's title, of course, is Giant Gentleness. And I'm really looking forward to the message we get today with Reverend Debbie and Max. And so I invite you to go within to that sacred place where we're always safe. And just know that there's a power in the universe for all of us, for every one of us here, online, and just everyone on this planet, and in the universe. And as I know this to be true, I just know this for myself, I know this for everyone, and I just bless our service today. So excited to be here and have everyone here and online, and the music and the fellowship and the community. And so together with gratefulness we say, and so it is. Thank you. And then for our readings, compassion and caring are the ties that bind us together in mutual understanding and in the unified attempt to uncover divinity in each other. Compassion is the most gentle of all human virtues, for it is the outpouring of the divine givingness through all. And that, of course, is Ernest Holmes. When we let the love that is within us go out to the God who is in all people, then we are loving God with all our heart and with all our soul and mind, because we are recognizing that the spirit within us is the same spirit that we meet in others. This is loving our neighbors as ourselves. Again, Ernest Holmes. And the moment you develop a sense of concern for others, you realize that, just like ourselves, they also want happiness and they also want satisfaction. And that's from the Dalai Lama. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Sam Miller, who will be giving us her beautiful voice, What the World Needs Now.
Bear with me as I get adjusted.
Check.
Actually, it's interesting. The theme for today is compassion and gentleness, because I've been trying to foster that within myself, being more gentle with myself and more compassionate and understanding, just as I would be with like a dear friend. So.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another mountain. There are mountains and hillsides enough to climb. There are oceans and rivers enough to cross, enough to last till the end of time. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Lord, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine. Oh, listen, Lord, if you want to know what the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. But not just for some, but for everyone.
And now it is my honor to introduce Reverend Debbie Putnam and Practitioner Max Overland for our message today on giant gentleness. Please give them a hand.
Oh my gosh, we are so excited to be here with you today to talk about giant gentleness. And today, we want to welcome you, whether you're online or in this room with us, into our living room. We have, it's kind of a not quite rainy day, it's cool outside, and so imagine that we're in our living room and we have this amazing fireplace that's keeping us warm. And it's just an opportunity for a practitioner and a minister, for our practitioner selves to discuss these ideas of giant gentleness. And in addition to that, we are so blessed that what we have in our living room is the most amazing music. So imagine, you don't have to imagine the amazing music part, because that is right here with the One Love Band and with Sam Miller. And that was such a blessing. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. So just to put this in brief context, this month we are talking about giant gentleness. CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, is talking about giant gentleness all over the world. Whoever has taken up this topic, because we're Science of Mind, so we always choose what we want to do. But whoever has chosen to take up this topic of giant gentleness and move it through the month. Last week, Reverend Sharon spoke to us about how this is for ourselves. What is giant gentleness when we apply it to our own lives, to every moment, even the ones that don't seem so brilliant and blessed? And how do we apply our giant gentleness to that? And to develop this giant gentleness further, this week we are going to talk about it in terms of relationship with others and relationship with ourselves. Next week, we get to broaden that even further to our institutions, our religious organizations like this one and many others, our political institutions, and the other organizations. Maybe it's our workplaces, maybe it's other things that we're members of or participate in that are part of our lives. So that's next week, and we will close out the month by wrapping up this gentleness that we are building for the month just deepening all of these concepts. So that's what the month looks like. That's where we're at.
Yes.
So, but to start out, I've got this amazing man with me, and I've had the most incredible opportunity to spend time with him talking about this topic. And this is our practitioner, Max.
And I've got this amazing woman sitting next to me, whom I've had the opportunity of getting to know
Yes.
and begin to develop even a deeper relationship than what we've had. And I really appreciate the opportunity we've had to work together.
So have I. And one thing that has really struck me is, you see Max in front of you. Max is a man, a white man, and I think you own that, right?
Yes, I
I'm
do
not
own
making
that.
this up? Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't want to step
do
on any
own that.
toes. Okay. And he's also a former Marine. And so when we come to a topic like giant gentleness, isn't gentleness weakness? Like, how is giant gentleness for you? What does that feel like to you?
Giant gentleness, for me, takes on many different aspects. When you look at it from the aspect of a Marine, Marines are a lot of the time giant gentleness in motion. Because while we defend, there's a lot of areas that most people don't get to see. Like when there are earthquakes in different locations around the world, there are Marines that are assigned with helicopter squadrons, with support and whatnot, to be able to get food and supplies and medical equipment and doctors into the field to take care of those who have had issues related to being separated from the world in earthquakes, floods, and different things of that nature. And a lot of people don't get to see those, and to see the peace that while we're involved in one area that we all consider war or skirmishes, there's a whole other realm where we get to practice help and assistance and whatnot. So service,
Caretaking.
yes. So giant
Giant
gentleness for me takes on that memory and the service that I got to do. But then it even steps a little bit further,
Tell us about that.
because I've had to in my life actually make transitions. Because being a Marine, we usually give commands and expect people to do them, and there isn't a negotiation and there isn't a peace. And we get used to that. And when I got out of the Marine Corps and started my civilian career, there were a lot of things I didn't know. And one of the things I didn't know about myself is that had to go. And so that started a whole big journey about peeling away different layers of what my expectations were of other folks in my daily work and in my relationships. And one of the things that struck me, so in 2008, I had the opportunity of walking into the Center for Spiritual Living in San Jose. And it was really interesting because you don't know what you don't know. But they opened the day by saying, "Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, where all that we ask is that you remain open to the possibility of changing your entire life by changing your mind. This service has been designed especially for you. Welcome home." And that just ripped my heart open, beat me over the head with it, and opened up a piece that has, since 2008, brought me on a track to being more kind with myself, more gentle with myself, gentle with those around me, and gentle in the way that I move through the world. Did that answer your question?
Oh my gosh, that opened up even more questions. That was amazing. I didn't know that about the Marines. I did not know that. And so, and your experience of walking into a CSL or a Science of Mind center for the first time, I love that. one of the things we teach that I think relates to this, that I have found sometimes a little bit challenging. You guys are probably all really easy with it, but for me it's not challenging. Is this idea that everything is a mirror? So when we start talking about relationships, if my relationships are a mirror, I look out there and sometimes I have started beating myself up. Like, if that's a mirror, I'm not like that person who did this thing or whatever. Surely I'm not this, this angry or resentful or this, fill in the blank thing. So how can that be my mirror? And when we were talking, you were talking about this transformative situation at work that you experienced and how you walked through that in terms of transforming your mirror. You're like, if everything's a mirror, then I'm going to change what I see in the mirror, right? Because I'm not having that. So
there's a lot to oh no, different mirror. Sorry.
hey, I love what you see in the mirror.
I do too, actually. I'm glad you brought that up because that's one of the. So for me at work, I work for a government agency, and I'm deputy clerk of the board. And one of my duties is notary. So when our organization needs items notarized, I notarize them. There is one person that we work with, one executive assistant, that I've had the opportunity of working with. I'm going to try to keep this brief because it's a big story. I was told, and a little bit of my experience, that they were difficult to work with, and they were, could be pretty rude.
Before you'd ever met them.
Before I'd ever met them, and before I started working with them. That's what I heard. So, I already had a preconceived idea. I had an idea running through my brain, and I was creating something. And they emailed me and asked me that there was an item that they needed to sign, and would I do a specific process. And I let them know that I couldn't do that process, and it had to be done with them in my presence. So, and that's what a notary does. And it was just a legitimate question. The response that went to my boss was that we don't like working with him. We like working with you. So the CEO would much rather sign it with you. My boss, being the great person that she is, she basically told them, no, you're going to get it signed, and he's going to be the one that's going to be doing it, and you let us know. So she let me know that was the conversation that this executive assistant had with her, that the CEO doesn't want to work with me and will much rather work with her.
So there was not a whole lot you could do. Like, you were in a place of, it sounds like, powerlessness. Like, what do I do with this?
Yes. In my mind, I had a vision of what it was that we were dealing with this person, and my boss knew that. So my boss, in her infinite wisdom, said, nope, him, set it up. And she came and got me. So I have all of this stuff going on. Why would the CEO say that? Why would this happen? So she came, got me, got me in the office, and here's what happened. The executive assistant came to the office, and I was expecting the CEO right away, and that didn't happen. We got to talk for 20 minutes with my boss and this person that I had a preconceived idea that she was difficult to work with and everything, and
didn't like you.
And didn't like me. And what happened, that experience, I got to be right. Because until we were in that office, my mirror was exactly that. Difficult to work with, difficult person. She was saying, I'm difficult to work with. I'm a difficult person. So there's the mirror. Two different faces. But that was the experience, and that was the expression. So we got to spend 20 minutes together in the office. And I got to hear things that she's going through in her personal life, that I went through in my personal life. Then we started talking about what we did to achieve a different outcome. And so what happened is she was mirroring my life. Knee replacement, extra pain, weight loss, always having issues with that. And so we got
You said
to...
she was in so much pain.
Oh, terrible pain. So what happened was my perspective changed. Because what I was having as a mirror was that, oh my gosh, I remember that 18 years I was in pain with both of my knees. Horrible pain. And now I don't have it because I have new knees. And she's looking forward to that. She's looking forward to success in weight loss in the same program that I'm doing. So all of a sudden, the mirror shifted. And what was anger and hostility and whatnot was, or, I'm not good enough, she's not good enough, that complete mirror changed. And now I have somebody that I'm in relationship with, and I healed myself and let go of my preconceived ideas, and so did she. So we got to have a moment of change in that.
I just think that's such a profound story.
Yeah.
And I think we can all relate to it. I can relate to it,
Yes.
this idea that I have this preconception. And talk to us about your concept of building the condominium. I love this idea of building a condominium. This is just this metaphor he uses. It's amazing.
And thank you for reminding me, because that's what I did. What I did was when we first had the discussion that she was a difficult person, and someone else was talking to me about that, I built a kitchen. And I started cooking a meal. Oh, she's not easy to work with. She's a difficult person. She's not originally, hasn't been a long time in our organization. And so I started adding spices and ingredients and creating little stories in my head about, if this happened, then that's what she would do. And then we had an experience where I was trying to set something up with her, and this was earlier on than this one. And it was a little bit difficult. So I went from the kitchen to the dining room. And I started setting the table and everything else. So basically what I was doing is I was building a condo. And I was creating a certain future for myself based on what I was thinking. So my interactions with her were going to be that way because I built the condo. I've started setting up the story, going to the living room, building that, and putting a fireplace and a TV so I could watch all the movies that I was creating with this person. So I was building a condo.
I love this concept of building a condo. And how often do we, okay, I'll just own it. How often do I create a story about what's going on out there? Sometimes I feel like I've gotten over this, and sometimes I feel like I do it every day. Yesterday, someone, a good friend of mine, reached out for prayer on WhatsApp, one of the social media apps, and I knew something might be going on because I'd seen some of her Facebook posts. And I asked, I said, yes, I'll pray. And I asked if I could come visit her because she's been traveling the world. And here she is back in Sacramento having some kind of health things. And she said it's a long story, but she didn't tell me what the story is. And of course, I start worrying, or I start something. I pray. And at the same time, I'm like, can I visit you? Does she need support? Well, she doesn't get back to me for a day. So I'm thinking, okay, she really doesn't want me to visit her. Something's really going on. And she finally gets back and says, I'm so busy doing my taxes, but after that I'd love to get together. So I'm like, okay, I've started building this story, which I can do so easily. And so this is still a work in progress for me. And I appreciate that you showed us this transformation. I realized that I do all the time, and I bet a lot of us do all the time, where I realize that because we're in science of mind, right? I realize that I create my world, that it starts within. I change my thinking. What was that thing in San Jose?
Be open to the possibility of changing your entire life by changing your mind.
Okay. So I am so open to the possibility of changing my entire life by changing my mind. And I have to create the space to do it. I mean, the first step is I get to recognize that whatever it is, maybe I'm making it up. Maybe I can change this. Maybe there's a way, so I have to step back a little bit. So thank you for sharing that, how you took this idea of mirror, mirror on the wall and didn't just take what was delivered to you, but transformed it.
Yes. And I wasn't stuck in my perception of she did me wrong or she did this to me. And I didn't stay in that. I actually had aha moments when she started sharing, hey, this is what's going on for me in my life. And it's like, oh, that's right. I can get out of my judgment and begin to have empathy and begin to transition that. And you know, when we were talking, Debbie, we were talking about active compassion, and we were talking about
Yes.
different things, and you brought up something that was going on with your life, and
Yes.
that just spoke to me when we were talking about this. Would you like to elaborate a little bit?
I would love to, and just I apologize in advance if I get teary, because when I was talking to Max about it, I was like, okay, I'm already, I've dealt with this. But you know how things are sometimes, right? So I'm peeling back the layers of who and what I really am, because we know that healing is revealing. And so in this healing is revealing, a good friend of mine, Reverend Patricia, Reverend Patricia, and she talked me into taking this forgiveness class with Reverend Dr. Michelle Wadley. It is an amazing class. I see someone who's here today nodding because I think she's involved in this work. It's amazing. So I highly recommend it if you want to go deeper. So it's maybe 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and we get assignments every week and all the things. And we also work with a prayer practitioner. And I got to the point where I realized that there was something that I needed to forgive. So this is the giant gentleness for myself, the self-compassion. And what I needed to forgive was a belief I didn't even know I had, that I had not kept our children safe. So we had a traumatic experience in our family when they were in junior high and high school. So we have 4 daughters, and they're close together in age. I call them daughters. Our youngest goes by they, them pronouns and is non-binary. And we went through this traumatic event, and apparently I had taken on, and didn't even realize it, this idea that I hadn't kept them safe. And yet they were safe. They've turned out fine. They were safe. There was nothing unsafe happening, or, this was all my construct from this one event. I had built this entire belief that I had failed as a mom to do something that is so vital as a parent, to keep our children safe, to keep them protected, to keep them feeling loved and like the world is good, and all of those things. I know I'm going on about it a bit, but it was so profound for me. And so I worked with my prayer partner, with a prayer practitioner for this class, for healing of these feelings of non-forgiveness towards myself. And it was the mirroring again. First, I had to realize it. So sometimes we don't even realize what's going on for us at this unconscious level. So I had to bring it from the unconscious to conscious enough that I could work on it. I had to find it first, excavate it, and then be willing to transform my thinking. And by transforming my thinking, transform all the relationships in my life, right? Because as I forgive myself, then I start letting go of what I've believed about others, or even just my own sense of failure or unworthiness or not good enoughness. I do all these things in life, and yet there's a part of me that gets wound up on maybe I'm not good enough. And so this self-awareness and self-compassion and self-forgiveness is deep, lifelong work. And I think some of you were doing the Richard Rohr study with Reverend Patricia, and certainly this is the work of our second half of life, and maybe it starts in the first half of life, but this work of knowing who and what we really are, and stepping back so we can find that and dig deeper.
So you're not letting anybody off the hook, but you're actually just letting go.
I'm
Right.
letting go. I'm letting go. I'm letting go of my condo, this time about myself.
Ooh.
And when we build that condo, right, that's where we put our power. So
Yeah.
my beloved husband, who's here in the audience today, thank you, Jim, he and I took a class, and some of you have maybe taken it with me, Busting Loose from the Money Game, but there's this process that talks about how we've created these constructs. He calls them eggs. But anyway, we've created like Easter eggs that we hunt for, and so then we can bring our power back to ourselves. It's like the condo. I've constructed this thing, and I kind of put my power over there because I'm believing that, which is probably stuck in the past and my imagination of the future and has nothing to do with what's actually happening. It has nothing to do with what's really going on. It's a story.
Mm.
So
Wow.
you're talking about creating that space, that distance
Yes.
that we need to create in order to have compassion for others and for ourselves.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you went there in creating that space, because you really hit that for me in your healing with yourself and your family, because that enabled you to create a space, kind of like looking down at all of that event and those beliefs and letting them go. You were able to have a 360-degree view
Yes.
and peeling back the layers of that onion that just dealt with that,
Yes.
and being able to give everyone their space.
And sometimes that space is exactly what we need
Yeah.
to heal, right? To heal a relationship, to heal ourselves. And you touched on something just for a moment, and I want to go back to that, which is none of this is permission for abuse, permission for someone else to mistreat us in small ways or
That's
big
right.
ways. And in fact, I would say that giant gentleness is strength. It is authenticity. It is knowing more and more who and what we really are, and giving ourselves that permission to take space when we need it, to allow space for others when they need it. And it looks to me like you might have something you want to read to us.
Oh, there is something that I want to read, but you've also touched on something. By saying what you're saying, when we're having somebody mirror something in us, and I call it when someone's standing in front of me at work and they're upset, and I call it they're just throwing up all over me, I have an option. Because they're upset, they've got something going on, and they need me to be able to help them, to help part of that go away. And so they might be throwing up all over me. And Debbie, you hit on this in what you were talking about. I need to not take it personally.
Yes.
I don't need to shake their hand, buy into it, and start arguing back with them, and begin that whole process of being in the middle of that. But it enables us to begin taking a step back and giving that view, that active view of what's going on, and be able to step back and go, this is not about me. This is something that they've got going on. And I have the option, and I do this at work, and I watch it. I have people come up to me, and I'm like, "Oh, wow, you're having a hard time, huh? What can I do to help you stop what's going on and maybe provide some support?" And when I approach it from relaxation, knowing that it's not an exact mirror that I'm having, but I'm actually breathing, stepping back in that moment, I get to help them overcome the mirror that's happening for them. And it's not an us against them or anything of that nature, but they might have somebody in their life who's being a mirror for them, and they're upset. And I get to help walk them through so that they can make a different decision. But this goes in line with what you're talking about. And yes, I brought with me today The Creative Mind and Success by Ernest Holmes. And there is one piece, and this is a kind of like the crux of today in some of what we do. Each person is living in a world of their own making, and they should speak only such words and think only such thoughts as they wish to see manifested in their life. We must not, and I love this part, we must not hear, think, speak, read, or listen to limitation of any kind, ours or anyone else's. But even our limitation, our self-talk. There is no way under heaven whereby we can think two kinds of thoughts and get only one result. It is impossible. And the sooner we realize it, the sooner we shall arrive. This does not mean that we must be afraid to think lest we create the wrong image. But it does mean that the way most people think can produce nothing but failure. That is why so few succeed. The person who is to succeed will never let their mind dwell on past mistakes. And I just love that. It hits on so many different levels. They will forgive the past in this life and in their lives and in the lives of other people. If they make a mistake, they will at once forgive it. You will know that so long as you desire any good, there is nowhere in the universe anything that opposes you. God does not damn anyone, D-A-M-N. God does not damn anyone or anything. Man damns everyone and everything. So when you're talking about forgiving yourself, and when I'm talking about when I have somebody who has a mirror, the self-talk that goes on through that is part of a scenario where we get to step back, look at the mirror, and look at what is being mirrored for us. Not only for us, and whatever damnation or whatever thing that we are ridiculing ourselves for. I'm no good, I'm not lovable. Look at the behavior that I just did. Look at the behavior that person just did. Oh my gosh, they crossed the line. How dare they do that? So there are all these things that we get to do.
You are bringing me to perhaps my favorite topic, which is spiritual practice. Spiritual practice is how we build the muscle. That's how I build the muscle.
Yeah.
That's how all of us build the muscle. So everyone in this room, whether you realize it or not, I think everyone here probably does realize it, and everyone online, you are practitioners because you are actively practicing in your lives how to use the science of mind or the power of thought or the power of attraction or any of these other principles. And sometimes stuff comes up, like your situation at work, or like my suddenly being all up in my stuff with self-forgiveness. Sometimes stuff comes up, and sometimes it's really big, and sometimes it's medium big, and whatever we want to label it. And the way to have the strength in the moment to deal with that, because you talked about, when you were reading Ernest Holmes, he says, change it in the moment. Well, how do you change it in the moment? That's not always easy to do. And the easiest way that I know of is to have tools in your toolkit, to have spiritual practices that you do. Some of my favorites are things like meditation and spiritual mind treatment, maybe reading Ernest Holmes or one of the other spiritual texts that enlighten me so much. And you talked about some others.
Yes, one of the other things that I did immediately when I started in 2008 or 2001 at the Center of Spiritual Living in San Jose, we started classes. My wife and I, she was my fiance at the time, but now is my wife, Susan. We started classes. And one of the things that enabled us is to develop the tools and to develop the means. And the other piece was get thee to a practitioner. That was one of the things in a foundation class. Reverend David was very clear. Get to a practitioner. Have a session. If you've got something going on in your life that you know that it's like, have you ever had something, and this is what he said to me, if you've had something and 6 months ago You said, I'm never going to do that again. And then 6 months later, you're at it again. It's like, I said I was never going to do that again. I'm never going to do that again. And then 4 months later, you're at it again. He said, so if you've got something going on, get to a practitioner, have a session, and begin to develop those tools that you're learning so that we can step back, so that we can have that time of introspection, and we can have that time of forgiveness, self-forgiveness, and forgiving of perceived, real or not, things that happen to us from someone else. And it doesn't give somebody the right to do anything, but it enables us. Forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about me. And you taught me that one. We were talking about that, and it was like, oh my gosh, that's right. So, it is the tools.
It is the tools. He also talked about service as
Yeah.
a tool. So being in service at this center or in other areas of life, in service to our families even.
You know that, and Debbie, thanks for saying that, because you hit on it big time. Giant gentleness is being in service, and whether we realize it or not, we are in service to everybody and everywhere we go. With a smile, with a kind word, shopping, people are in service to us.
Listening.
Talking to the folks. We are in service all the time.
And that's how we transform.
Yes, it is.
So in closing,
Thank you.
we want to leave you. Am I closing too soon?
No, you're perfect.
Oh, I am perfect.
Right on time.
Everybody just know that for me, I'm perfect.
Good, you are.
And so are you.
Thank you.
And so are all of you. We want to leave you with a couple of things. So from my side, I want to leave you with this. Repeat after me. I am worthy.
I am worthy.
I am worth it.
I am worth it.
I am enough.
I am enough.
I am loved.
I am loved.
And I was wondering if you would leave us, speak it out to everyone, what you heard the first day in San Jose when you first walked into a Center for Spiritual Living, or whatever it was called at the time.
Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, where all that we ask is that you remain open to the possibility of changing your entire life by changing your mind. This service has been designed especially for you. Welcome home. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. We love you. You are amazing change agents in this world.
Shall we pray?
Let's pray. Go.
All right. All right. Everyone, close your eyes, take a deep breath. And as you let that breath out, know with me that there is one Spirit, one God, Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Allah, name it what you will. It is just one. And you and I are connected to the thought of that one, to the one mind, Spirit. We can never, ever, ever, ever be separate from God. Can't happen. We are connected from day one, and we have never not been connected to Spirit. And know with me that in this moment, the thoughts, the prayers, the desires of your heart, the thing that is speaking to you louder than my voice, the thing for which you are seeking an answer, Spirit has already answered by saying yes, because Spirit always knows what it is that is in our heart and mind before we even say it. So for this, I'm grateful, knowing that Spirit always says yes, with gentle giantness. For this, I am grateful. For this, I am honored. For this, I lead my rest of my day and the rest of our day looking for when those prayers are being answered and going, yes, there it is. Yes, there it is. Yes, my life has been changed for the good. So I'm going to release these words into the action of the law, knowing that it is done, it is finished, and with a thankful, grateful heart. I let this go. And so it is.
And so
And so it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And now, it's probably time for some more music. Oh,
Yes, I
good.
think so. Should we get out of the way? Oh, we're not in the way. Okay. Thanks, Debbie.
When it rains, it pours, but you didn't even notice. It ain't raining anymore, and it's hard to breathe when you know it's. You're struggling off, staying above the rising water line. But the sky is finally open. The rain and wind stop blowing, and you're stuck out on the same old storm again. You hold tight to your umbrella, darling, I'm just trying to tell you that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. If you could see what I see, you'd be blinded by the colors. You're the red, orange, and green, and at least a million others. Tie up the bow, take off your coat, and take a look around. And the sky is finally open. The rain and wind stop blowing, and you're stuck out on the same old storm again. You hold tight to your umbrella, darling, I'm just trying to tell you that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. So tie up the bow, take off your coat, and take a look around. Everything's alright now. Be open. The rain and wind stop blowing, and you're stuck out on the same old storm again. Let go of your umbrella, darling, I'm just trying to tell you that there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. There's always been a rainbow hanging over your head.
Yes, rainbows. Ah, what a message. I just got all teary-eyed because I joined this religious science 40 years ago, And I really didn't get into it. I kept showing up for service every Sunday, but till the classes. That's what got me. And I was into religious science for all those years, but in 2005, when I took foundations for the 3rd time, it got into me. And I said, I got it. So, but it's ongoing with the tools, all ongoing. So now's our offering time, and I believe so much in this message as we give financially. It's a sacred thing. And when we give, we activate an increase of our flow and our good, and everything goes with spiritual practice. And it does get easier, Yeah.
Go ahead. I wanted to say something when you get done with that.
Oh, and it gets worse, and because my life has been abundant since giving this. I started out years ago giving $5 a week, and I've increased it, only because I was giving, and it was giving back. And giving to our Center for Spiritual Living supports our vision, mission, and purpose. I got that in order. And then you can go to our website and post office box. That's what I do.
Well, that's what I wanted to come up here and say. We don't have to have a post office box anymore. We have an address. So we have mail being delivered to our location. We no longer have to have a post office box. We officially live here now. And we're so excited about that.
Yeah.
And your tithing, your donations, that's what's making this place possible. And what a community center this is going to be. If you have a chance to peek through the curtains, Larry has the temporary walls up that's going to make it possible for the beams to go up this next week. And we are so close. We are so close to moving into our official sanctuary and this becoming our classroom. We are just weeks away. So it's so exciting.
It is.
Thank you. Thanks
And
for
we can donate, like, in addition to our tithe, we can donate separately for, like, the building fund.
Yes,
right?
if you want to have some money going specifically to the building fund, there are envelopes in the basket that's going around. You can write that on there specifically for the building fund. But we are looking forward to being able to move in there. We also are hoping that we can sublease. We'll be able to have people use this area for classes, for recovery programs, whatever is needed in the community, and that's going to help us with our lease payment. That's going to help us live here. It's just getting ready to, I don't know, blossom, just like the spring. We're so excited about this happening. So thanks for letting me interrupt.
Of course. And then, you could donate through a PayPal or credit card. And we appreciate all your donations. And they are tax deductible. And I just did my taxes too. So that was nice. So we could say together our abundance affirmation. In consciousness of abundance, I give freely, knowing that I am freely given to. Yes. And now we're going to have the offering song play. I am so blessed.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So it is. And now we have our prayer requests. We love to pray because we know that we get answered prayer. And we're very grounded in that. So if you have any prayer requests, please go online through our website at www.csl.com or see one of us at practitioners, ministers, and will take care of you. And and here's second Sunday of the month is
That's today.
That's today.
yeah, it's
Our community outreach meeting.
the outreach and then the leadership of Ann Brooks.
Woo-hoo.
And does a wonderful job. And connects to us to all our local communities, and we give offering, we support fellowship, and the team also has fun. We do have fun and fellowship. We all are welcome to the meeting that we are held on the second Sunday of the month. So we'll meet up for that. Yeah, today. And then next we have our Book of Richard Rock with Reverend Patricia, and she says it looks. I look at 2.5 of spiritual life. That sounds good.
That's on Fridays.
Huh?
On Fridays from 5 to 7.
Yeah, on Fridays, May 10th, 5 to 7. Oh, that starts May 10th, and cost, of course, is love offering, and it's right here.
Yes.
And thank you. And then this is all my relationships are love informed.
Affirmation. That's our affirmation for the week.
Yeah, we'll say that again. And do post that around your house if you want, or on your microwave. So we'll say that together.
All of my relationships are love informed.
I like that. And now for our benediction. So I invite you to go in and take a breath of gratitude for today and the message and the music and the love and the community here and all that's going, and the gratitude of our building and our own address. So we blessed our service, we bless our music, we bless each other here and online and around the world, for we are one. We are moving together, lifting each other up, especially towards home. And we are home. And with gratitude we say, and so it is. Yes, and join us for our community gathering right after. And
Closing song.
I love myself so much.
This is a sing along.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we hope you sing with us.
Keep in mind, it's I, you. It's a little bit of a mind twister, this song. Okay.
Thank you. Have a wonderful week.